So thank you very much for coming back. It's good to see that almost everyone is here. Again, let me remind you that at the end of this training session on traffic management and mobility as a service that I'm again giving with my colleague Itır COŞKUN from SWARCO, we're going to have like a learnings, like an assessment paper with 6 questions that you are going to be asked to reply to. So I am going to skip. No, well, we have Slido. Are you still connected, or shall I give you some time to connect? I'll give you some time to connect. So you go to slido.com again, 371801. Oh. Not working. Ah. Okay, again, what organization are you from? We were testing it. We had an answer, but we asked this morning. So I guess seeing the same people here, we don't have new organizations or cities. NETAS. What is NETAS? Turksat. Okay, and the rest are Ankara and Istanbul.
Ankara. Turksat is in Ankara. Netaş, Istanbul.
Okay. ISDD Electronics. Great.
Ulak, Ankara.
ULAK. PTT Technology. Oh, great. Ministry of Transportation. Swamnet. Okay, excellent. That's good to have a diverse audience. Excellent. Okay, important. So we know who we are. You know us, you were all here this morning. So this is the presentation that you saw this morning about the ERTICO Academy. And the question is, traffic management. What is traffic management? Is the solution traffic congestion? Is the sole responsibility of public authorities? Only concerns cars? All of the above. What do you think about traffic management? All of the above is doing well, which makes me happy. So nobody's saying it's the sole responsibility of public authorities, which is great. So 15 people have answered, and the last 2 questions remain 0. Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh. Well, I'm going to argue that it's not the sole responsibility of public authorities. So that's an interesting 6% of the 18 people. But nobody has said only concerns cars. So 56, all of the above. Excellent. Okay. So what is traffic management? The organization, arrangement, guidance and control of both stationary and moving traffic, including pedestrians and bicycles, bicyclists, and all types of vehicles. So indeed, it's not only about cars. So it aims to provide a safe and orderly and efficient movement of persons and goods, and to protect and, where possible, enhance the quality of the local environment on and adjust to traffic facilities. So traffic management, ideally, should not only make better traffic flows, but also make sure that everything and everyone is safe, and it also adheres to the environmental targets set by the public authorities. So that is the most complete definition of traffic management that I found and we support. And as you see, it's all types of vehicles, including the pedestrians and the bicycles. Of course, the pedestrian is not a vehicle, but it is a mode of mobility, to be on foot. So what is the real operational picture? It's what you see in front of you. And most of us have been in the situation where the navigation device inside the car or even our mobile says go straight, and then the road is blocked. And you're thinking, okay, what is happening? How am I going to do it? Why doesn't the service provider that is giving me this information, Amazon, TomTom, or whoever, says go ahead where there's roadblocks or roadworks, and obviously they didn't start today, so they should have known. But the truth is that in most cases they don't, because the public authority or the city or the region doesn't communicate with the service providers, which it doesn't make any sense. They should communicate. I hope you agree with me, because that's the entire story of the interactive traffic management. And then you see on the road this kind of thing, which is not a pedestrian or a bicycle or a car, and it doesn't really, is not able to receive data or give out floating car data, and still it is blocking the road, and somehow you should know about it. And somehow these things should be communicated to the traffic management center and the user of the road network. Roadworks, again, you saw it in this morning's presentation. This is a very dangerous situation. If you're not aware beforehand when you're planning your trip, or 5 minutes or 2 minutes before you see this, it can be quite unsafe. So the challenge is how to put the road operators, so the public sector involved in traffic management, be it ministry or traffic management center and so on, with the service providers, with those whose job or business model it is to provide information to the users, and how to put together the road operators that are measuring and influencing traffic and informing the driver, but with this VMS, the big signs on the road network, with the service provider that is actually entering in your car and gives you a personalized information. So measuring is the same, guiding the specific driver is the difference, because the public sector or traffic management center is trying to influence traffic, and inform the driver is at the end goal of both. So it makes total sense to find a way to put these two kind of road forces, let's say, cooperating with each other. And this is exactly what we try to do in TM 2.0. I'm going to talk to you about this concept right now. So to make the circle better and more holistic, measuring, influencing, guiding the driver, keep the driver informed, because that makes driving safer as well. So we're talking about smarter traffic management systems, where public authorities set the priorities for the collective experience, like I said before, set the targets for environmental limits, let's say, and the private sector competes with each other, of course, but on individual experience, and it should not be at the expense of the targets set by the public authorities. And more you see most of the cars having this connectivity sign, but as we said this morning, we're going to spend some time in mixed traffic. The better we use the concept of interactive traffic management, the more safe this is going to be for both the connected and the not connected vehicles. And this is the concept of TM 2.0. The scheme that you see on your left-hand side, it was designed actually by SWARCO back in 2016, when TomTom and SWARCO set up this innovation platform under the ERTICO umbrella of innovation platforms. And we started talking about this holistic traffic management, this interactive traffic management, where you see in the blue part, usually, and I'm saying usually because it doesn't apply for all the countries, the public sector, where the navigation systems, the V2I, and the collection, the data collection and data processing, that is the public part of the data processing, going into the implementation, into the dissemination of this information, provision of this information through the cloud, the I2V, traditional science, and so on and so forth, going into a loop when one informs the other and the information is going around, so that not only the vehicles and the drivers are aware of what is happening on the road network, but also the information goes back to the traffic management center so that they know how to plan and what is the situation on the road. This is on the right-hand side, a navigation device. It's in Greek because I'm Greek. And it's funny because the navigation says it's a street with no name. I know it's a song, but it says there that because it's unable to recognize where you are and what you're doing. And that is unsafe. You don't want to drive and have no information about where you are, where you're going on your navigation device. So when we're talking about this concept of interactive traffic management, what we're trying to do is to have coherent information and all the channels actually being aligned on traffic management plans provided by the road authorities, coherent and aligned with dynamic traffic information. So one sign doesn't say follow A4 and then your navigation device says it's closed, because you as a driver, you're confused, you don't know what to follow. Do you follow the general sign given by the public authority? Do you trust the service provider more? It's unsafe, and it's a dilemma that you should never be faced with. So that is what we are talking about when we're saying coherence. Now you see TMC and TPEG and so on and so forth. These are communication protocols, as you know, for traffic information. So ideally, the information that you see in the VMS, in the big signs on the highways, should be the same with what you get on your personal navigation device, but more personalized. If the navigation device in your car knows that you want to go to a specific place, it should be giving you better and more personalized information. So that is what we're trying to do. And the principles of TM 2.0, which means you go to the next level of traffic management, the first level is TM 1.0, is or are, first of all, understanding among the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? The public and the private and the user. And there should be understanding. What does the public authority want to do? What are the targets and the goals? And understanding and respect. And the public authority should understand what the private industry wants to do. You cannot, as a public authority, you cannot just say, oh, I condemn the fact that you're making profit out of information. This is a business, and as a business, it has to make a profit, continue working, and so on and so forth. What we are trying to do is put them together and have them work in collaboration and trust. So it's like a marriage. When you speak and understand each other, the marriage goes well. If you don't speak and understand each other, the marriage doesn't go well. So collaboration and trust, alignment of information to drivers, and consistency. That's exactly what I already referred to. And these are the cooperation levels in TM 2.0. So TM 2.0, again, is an innovation platform, which means a forum of organizations, actually 42 of them, and half of them are public authorities and cities, sitting around the table for the past 4 years and discussing how to implement this cooperation, this dialogue, this understanding, and this new scheme of traffic management. And there are different levels. So level 0 is exactly what is happening now, where traffic management plans and floating car data are exchanged between the public and the private sector in order to optimize their own processes, not caring about the bigger picture. Then you go to level 1, and when I'm saying then, it's the steps on how to go from where we are now in traffic management 1.0 to traffic management 2.0. And different regions and countries are in different levels of this cooperation. Where there's a display, or you display and discard the public strategic route, you as a service provider, as TomTom, you display the strategic route that is recommended by the city of Ankara, that says don't go around this football stadium. And then you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide as a driver. Then the second level is compulsory display as option of strategic route, and the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, the TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have in my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides if they should follow this or not. And the fourth level, going more and more towards
and you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide as a driver. Then the second level is compulsory display as option of strategic route, and the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, the TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have in my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides if they should follow this or not. And the fourth level, going more and more towards, and you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide as a driver. Then the second level is compulsory display as option of strategic route, and the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, the TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have in my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides if they should follow this or not. And the fourth level, going more and more towards, and you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide as a driver. Then the second level is compulsory display as option strategic route, and the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, the TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have on my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides.
So, and this is the way
and the fourth level, going more and more, and you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide as a driver. Then the second level is compulsory display as option strategic route, and the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, the TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have on my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides. So, and the fourth level, going more, and you say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide. Then the second level is compulsory display as option strategic route, the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have on my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides.
They provide the solution, not
and the fourth level is going more, and we say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide. Then the second level is compulsory display as option the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device, on the screen that I have on my car, in the user's car, and then the user decides. Provide the solution, and the fourth level going more, and we say the user decides. Ankara wants you not to go there, but you decide. Then the second level is compulsory display as option the user decides. This is, sorry, the level one, TomTom, for example, says, oh, maybe I should not put this, maybe I should. The second level is, I put this information on the device,
to have some roadworks and for the distance,
and then the
you
user
see
decides.
point A and point B, or
And the
the
level going more, and we say the user decides.
in the middle,
Ankara wants you not to go there,
extreme
but you
measures, it suddenly
then the second
decided to
level is
close the
compulsory
roads,
network
option
it's
for setting up
strategic sites. This is level one
service, and that is what
for
happened
example says, oh,
years ago when we
maybe I
started
should
that
fix this, maybe I should. Second level is
when the city of Antwerp decided it's going to have some roadworks and for distance,
and then we
maybe
see
when they
not and the level, but more
of course, as all companies focusing on suddenly
then the second level is strategic sites. This is level one, and that is what happened years ago when we started this, maybe I should. Second level is when the decided to have some roadworks and then we see when they
so that is important.
and the level, but more and we say the vision
Side.
as all companies focusing then the second level is strategic sites. This is level one, and that is what happened years ago when we started this, maybe I should. Second level is when the decided to have some roadworks and then we see when they
So that is important.
and the level, but more and we say the vision
As all companies
then the second level is
so Copenhagen and Amsterdam.
this is
So the mission was to optimize the network traffic, improve distribution of traffic over time, and it was in such a manner that we decided to with the roadworks and so for the road authorities, the wind service providers, and the wind and you see the two classes,
then the second
and they want to go from the so the mission was to emphasize that you don't traffic, improve distribution users from such a manner that we the distribution in the tunnels according to the law, for example, so they managed to do that. Sorry, that's Copenhagen. They managed to do that with the cooperation between the city of Antwerp, the public authorities of Antwerp, and the service providers such as TomTom and here and INRIX and so on, all the service providers cooperating by changing the pricing and the tolling system. So when you cross the road, you would pay a higher amount if you chose the route that was not recommended by the city because it was not aligned with the plan that it had to balance the traffic. And that was giving an incentive to both the user/driver and the service provider because they were also gaining from it. And it was, you know, the city may have been losing in the monetary sense, in the tolls, but it was gaining in the safety and the traffic balancing. So that was a very successful pilot or trial for the Socrates project. Another example that I wanted to show you comes from Copenhagen. So that is the purpose for improving utilization of and increasing the road network capacity and modal shift. And they worked on this multimodality that we also briefly discussed this morning. So they worked on the multimodality, the data and scenario-based and ideal cooperation of the service providers and the city. And they are focusing on incorporating bikes, so not only cars, but bikes into the daily traffic management. And they are actually consciously prioritizing on the bicycles in the city center and not on the cars, giving an incentive to the people moving in the city not to use their cars because they're going to be arriving later than if they used their bike. So improve bus priority, real cyclist travel times of floating cycling data, and this is a conscious strategy of Copenhagen in traffic management. And now more and more traffic management becomes receives or is perceived as the integration of other modes as well. So we're talking about bicycles, but it's also other modes, the micromobility, so scooters and what have you. What is important, and it's a discussion now in Europe, is that we don't have so much the data from these other modes, because you need data as a traffic management center to work on this balancing and orchestrating the use of modes in order to create this balance in your mobility system. And this is a nice scheme that shows how the integration works. So we are basing this interactive traffic management on the collaboration and trust and the co-petition that I mentioned. And you see this loop of traffic management operator, road operator, traffic service provider, and going back again. This loop of information in the traffic management value chain. This is what interactive traffic management is all about. It's also called advanced traffic management. So this is the transformation that also Itır referred to this morning when she was talking about CCAM in traffic management. Because, and the whole kind of incentive or story behind it is that we should learn how to cooperate, the stakeholders in traffic management, because automation is coming and things are going to be imposed on the scheme. So we better find the scheme that allows for everyone to achieve their goals and needs. And we have questions and answers. So the question is, how does traffic management work in Turkey? And what are the obstacles for deployment of this concept that you heard about in Turkey? How does traffic management work in Turkey? Do the public authorities speak to the service providers, or do they compete as they did or as they still do in some countries in Europe? Is there this kind of cooperation and dialogue that we are talking about happening here? Silence. Yes.
I think the biggest obstacle for the deployment of the concept would be the organization in Turkey. In some parts of the country, there's a very dense traffic, and in some parts there's not so much density. If you were to make an investment on deploying those management tracking devices, there would be like some places it would be completely useless, but some places it won't be enough. So the biggest obstacle would probably be the planning, like how should we deploy services, and there needs to be a forecast upon possible traffic congestion zones. But overall, there might be some deployments with careful planning.
But is there this culture of stakeholders discussing with each other, having a dialogue, and sitting around the table? Because it's a matter of building this culture of cooperation. Usually what you have in some countries in Europe is also the public authorities saying, no, we decide, we set the priorities, everyone else should follow. And that is the change that should be happening behind this concept. The understanding that the traffic management authority cannot decide things with, they can always decide, but there should be dialogue and exchange and understanding of how the other side works. Like the example of Zurich and TomTom, for example, because Zurich didn't basically think a lot about what companies such as TomTom are going to do. And TomTom was worried, it's either all the service providers or is it only me and losing my clients, you know? It's a matter of culture, and this is something important, again, to build not only the technology side, but the organization side as well.
I actually have a question for you.
Yes.
How do you think some small startups can enter this area? Because there are some very big players that will probably avoid competition, and for that problem, there will be lack of innovation. That's what I think. As in the case of Google Maps, some of the navigation tools do not work as efficiently because they do not have the customer base.
Yeah.
But the one that has the customer base doesn't focus on like Turkey, it focuses on USA or other big countries. How do you think that will balance out? Do you think startups can enter that field?
Yeah, I think startups can enter that field. There are many new concepts and opportunities within this concept, within the TM 2.0 scheme. So Finland is thinking of deploying a TM 2.0, and it's looking into incentivizing all sorts of companies, the big ones and the small ones. What is important is to be fair, and also to give incentives to the service providers to work with you. So if I am a public authority, I'll tell you, okay, let's have this agreement between us. I'll provide you with information if you provide me with the data. It's going to make your business better and my planning and managing the traffic better. But I wouldn't have this exchange with a company that is not helping and not providing data. The point is, and it's always in the European regulation, that you should be fair to all the players or service providers, regardless of size, and that is important. Now, opportunities in smaller startups are there, especially now with LiDAR and all these new technologies that service providers or startups are coming with. I think it is a rising concept and full of opportunities, for sure. But I think we have, 10 minutes break. Yeah, 10 minutes break. Okay, it's 2:35, we're back to 45.